This is my story of how I got to work on stage with 2 times Oscar winner Christoph Waltz, long before he was even a blip on Tarantino's radar. Stay with me and check out my tale from beginning to end. How I Met Christoph Waltz, or Christoph Waltz, as pronounced in German. The year was 1983. At 22 years old, I had just moved into my first own apartment, a tiny studio in Gladbruck on the outskirts of Zurich, located directly next to a busy highway entrance. Quite noisy, but I was able to afford it. That spring, my good friend, the drummer and Joe Geilo Heartbreakers bandleader guitarist, had hired me to be a part in the ensemble of a play called La Balcona Bar, to be performed on June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The venue was called Der Keller im Schauspielhaus, a marvelous performance space located in the basement of the Schauspielhaus Zurich, translated to English as Zurich Playhouse. It is one of the most prominent and important theaters in the German-speaking world. The concept of the play was described as songs and scenes from the Sad Café. The cast consisted of only 3 actors: a male lead, Christoph Waltz, a female lead, Elena Schlapfer, and a bartender, Laszlo Kish. The plot was simple. The lead actors would have drinks at the bar, talking to each other and to the bartender, and every few minutes they would break into song. There was a 4-piece live band present on stage who would then provide the musical accompaniment. Dude Durst on drums, Kasper Galli, me on guitar, Beat Ramsayer on bass, and Brian Gill on piano. We started rehearsing a few weeks before opening night, and I will never forget the first time meeting Christoph Waltz. I took the blue Zurich streetcar, or tram as we call it in Swiss German, to my first rehearsal, and by coincidence a young blonde lad got off the car at the same time as I did. As I walked towards the Schauspielhaus, he followed me, which I thought was suspicious. He was walking 6 feet behind me, and as I turned the corner, he turned the corner too. I have had hopeful gay guys following me in the past, and I couldn't help wondering if that was the case here. Now I walk into the back door of the Schauspielhaus, and so does he. As I ring the bell, he looks at me with this befuddled expression. I say something like, "Looks like we are going to the same place, huh?" He then asks me if I am part of the rehearsal too. I said yes, and we both crack up. He introduces himself. "Hi, I'm Christoph." Me. "Hi, I'm Kasper." Or Kasper. He was not famous at the time. He was just a 26-year-old Austrian-German actor who got his professional start by becoming an ensemble member of the Schauspielhaus Zurich. I got along well with him. He was friendly and approachable and liked to chat about music. He was telling me how he was friends with John Scofield, one of my all-time favorite guitarists, through whom he met Miles Davis backstage at one of his concerts. Scofield was also a part of the George Gruntz big band at the time, and Gruntz was the musical director at the Schauspielhaus Zurich. So there's the connection. That's how Christoph Waltz met Scofield. Waltz used to watch those big band rehearsals. That's how he became friendly with Scofield, an association that I was quite impressed with. At this point, all the dialogues for La Balcona Bar had already been written by Klaus Pohl. However, not all songs had been chosen yet, and we, the musicians, were encouraged by Christoph and Elena to come up with song choices, as long as they were well-known and recognizable tunes. I came up with several song suggestions, but Waltz nixed each one of them. Not in a mean way. He just seemed to have a strong vision of what he wanted, and an even stronger vision of what he didn't want. We rehearsed several times a week. And before the very last rehearsal, Christoph told us he wanted to sing Sinatra's One for My Baby and One More for the Road as a duet with just me on guitar. I've had never played that song before, and I had 24 hours to get my hands on a recording, write a chart, and practice and memorize it. In those days, you couldn't just download charts and MP3s online. You had to do the legwork. I practiced for hours until I had a solid grip on this classic. The next day at dress rehearsal, we ran the tune a few times, but Christoph Waltz didn't sound so good, and the song was thrown out. Let's just say he's no Sinatra, not even close. He's a hell of an actor, but not much of a singer. He can hold a tune all right, his pitch is okay, but in my humble opinion, his singing voice is mediocre. Many great actors want to be singers, and many great singers want to be actors. The more famous, the worse. When people are getting paid $20 million to pretend to be a doctor for 4 months, then being paid another $20 million to pretend to be a lawyer for 3 months, it must be easy to think that for yet another $20 million, you can just pretend to be a great singer. Stick to lip sync, Zellweger. Singing and acting are two different jobs, and only a few actors can do them both well. To Waltz's credit, he has done very little public singing after achieving fame. I think he knows the difference. However, his and Elena's singing voices worked fine for La Balcona Bar. Among the songs that we did perform were Lou Reed's Walk on the Wild Side, Elvis Presley's Are You Lonesome Tonight, Duke Ellington's Sophisticated Lady, Billie Holiday's Good Morning Heartache, and Frankie Valli's Can't Take My Eyes Off You, to name just a few. All 3 nights were sold out, and I was sad when it ended. After every performance night, we would go out with the whole cast and crew for drinks and food at the nearby Mövenpick restaurant. I wished it could have gone on at least for a few weeks longer. After this run ended, so did my contact with Christoph Waltz. We traveled in different circles, and ultimately he completely disappeared from my radar. Fast forward to 2009. I am sitting in a movie theater in New York City with my wife Sonia. We are waiting to watch Quentin Tarantino's newest film called Inglourious Basterds. I'm a huge Tarantino fan and willing to pay good money to see any of his films. I did not read up on anything about this new movie. All I knew was that Brad Pitt starred in it, only because Sonia had told me so. After the lights go down low at the movie theater, the first credit appears. Brad Pitt. Then the second credit appears. Christoph Waltz. What? I nearly choked to death on my popcorn. And much to the chagrin of my wife, I screamed out loud, I know this guy. Hey, I really know him. I was in a play with him 25 years ago in Switzerland. And then Christoph's mug appears in the very first scene, and he kills it. His portrayal of the Nazi Hans Landa, the Jew hunter, earned him his first of 2 Academy Awards for Best Supporting Role. His second supporting role Oscar followed 3 years later for his portrayal of antebellum bounty hunter Dr. King Schultz in the Tarantino masterpiece Django Unchained. There was no stopping his meteoric rise in the international film world after that. And to date, his achievements include 2 Oscars, 2 Golden Globes, 2 British Academy Film Awards, and 2 SAG Awards. And this is how my story ends. Goodbye, Christoph. Tschüss. Tell Quentin I am free next Sunday for a bro brunch. Drinks on me.